You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And it's your boy, Evan Klosky.
Back again, and we appreciate it. We are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the social medias. And you can email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Ulises, you and I will be at the Trop on Saturday to watch a little baseball. Evan, where will you be? What's on your docket? What's on your agenda Saturday?
Chores, and a lot of them. I need to get a lot of crap done. I actually am going to try to trickle on down there to the Trop. Not sure if I can stay for the whole game if I do, but I would like to at least be there for the statue going up. Obviously, game 162 with Evan Longoria, and then our good friend Nakanori, and the fists in the air for clinching the Rays' first trip to the World Series.
The legend that was. Well, I don't know if
actually you'll get one of these.
Oh, you already got
exclusive premiere on Locked On Rays. I love it. Look at that, people.
Wow.
So there you go, a little preview. If you go to the game on Saturday and you watch on YouTube here, this is what you're going to get.
Oh, that's
Look
awesome.
at that.
Thank you for showing us that.
So I don't know if it's kosher or not, but I suppose Evan could go from the media tent or the press box to the Budweiser porch, which is where myself and Ulises and hopefully several other listeners will be drinking beverages and snacking and talking baseball.
It's tough to match the last time that I went to a Rays game with you, because that was when the Rays clinched the AL East in that 100-win season in 2021, where it was like, hey, I'm going to hang out with you guys, but there's a chance I'm going to have to work, and the Rays won, and then there was another loss that happened, and it was like, eighth inning. See you guys later.
Exactly. No, well, let's hope for good things to happen, and hopefully – if you don't have too many chores, we can at least hang out with, like Kevin likes to say, a daddy soda in hand.
Yeah,
and daddy soda, yes.
Ulises, do you want to remind the audience where exactly we will be around the Budweiser porch and when?
So you have either the Ray tank on the left, if you're looking at home plate, and then on the right-hand side of the Budweiser porch, there's a big screen. We're going to be by the big screen at the top of the 6th inning.
And little inside baseball, I have not purchased my ticket yet. So if somebody wants to give me a ticket, lockedonrays@gmail.com to invite or give me a ticket.
He's also looking for a ride to the stadium. He will put up $2 for the parking. Because that's what he thinks it should cost.
Yes.
I'll give you 2 pesos. That's about my limit. No, Ulises gave me a parking hookup, which I'm very pleased about. So I will be taking full advantage of that when the time comes. All right. All lollygagging aside, Evan, we will get into the stadium news update and information. You, of course, were at the press conference earlier this week. But first, the Rays did play the lowly Los Angeles Angels and took a little bit of everything, a little bit too close for comfort on Thursday's afternoon game. Walk-off hit by Manny Margot and some other heroics by the likes of Isaac Paredes, among others, to sneak out and sneak away with a 5-4 victory. Just your thoughts on the game and the series as a whole against the LA Angels.
Well, probably the most notable takeaway is the fact that Luke Raley might be done for at least a regular season. He does not feel good. His arm went numb, kind of felt like a dead arm. This is all stemming from the freak accident that happened in Baltimore that knocked him out a couple of games, just with shagging fly balls, collided with a Rays staffer. And, I talked with him the day of the stadium news, and he said that he was feeling good and felt like he was going to be up and running shortly, which he did pinch hit, and then immediately that blew up in his face. So Kevin Cash didn't really have a good answer on what the outlook is, and we have not heard of MRI results. So maybe in next week's episode, when we start talking about the playoffs a little bit, we're going to have to figure out how do they replace him, because this team is thin in the outfield. They got infielders for days, but if he can't go, you would imagine that Brujan's going to have to come up and provide the flexibility, unless they're going to give somebody else another chance in the outfield, at least to finish out the regular season. In the playoffs, it'll be a different discussion.
Would that be the last time, because of the Lewis head rule, would that be the last time that Vidal Brujan is able to come up and then face non-waiver?
Well, the thing is, he can come up because you figured he'd be here for the rest of the regular season. So he wouldn't get shipped back down, If Luke Ray is going to get hurt, you have 8 games left in it. You have 8 games left in a season. You'll ride it out with him. And then when the playoffs come, you don't have to put him on your roster. That's, so yeah, I think that's why you saw Tristan Gray come up. Especially because there was a good matchup there and they wanted the lefty, but, and not to mention because Jose Siri's out, that allowed them to kind of bring up a player like Tristan Gray, who has very similar attributes to Siri at the plate. But I don't think that Brujan would be subject to the waivers, because he would have to actually be sent down again after being called back up. So
if you see him coming up, then it's kind of like, until game 162, because we cannot risk just losing him through waivers. So once
yeah. So unless they felt the necessity that they would ever have to bring him down, but Siri's not going to come back before the end of the regular season. Rarely, if this happens, won't be back before the regular season. And you think that they just need an outfielder. So
Harold Ramirez starts shagging fly balls.
Yeah, we saw how that worked out in Wednesday's game, and that cannot happen again. So, Harold Ramirez was a direct result of 2 runs that kind of, I think, tailspinned Savali in that start.
All right.
If Harold Ramirez makes the play in the first inning, Savali gets out of that 0-0. Who knows what kind of happens the next inning? Maybe he still blows up and gives up the 4 runs, but there's a difference between 4-0 and 6-0. And, in the end, that game didn't matter because they couldn't get a base hit with runners in scoring position. But that's also
I know it's been a minute. Brandon Lau, get your outfield glove ready. Start shagging fly balls. You're getting smacked in right field.
Yeah, he's going to need a little time, too, after taking a foul ball off the kneecap in this contest and leaving early. At least Kevin Cash said that's going to be a day-to-dayer. But said he's probably going to be really sore tomorrow. So
there's no way you take that hit and you play tomorrow, right? Like, he's out tomorrow.
I would imagine he's going to be out, and it's that kind of gives them some flexibility. Like if they were to put Rayleigh on the IL, I believe you could, at least in the short term, bring up Tristan Gray again and then maybe move Isak over to second and do kind of those things. Because I believe it's a string of righties, right? They're going to play Bassett.
Ryu is on Saturday.
So so Ryu is a bit of an issue, obviously being a lefty. And then...
Is it Gossman on Sunday?
I'm checking right now. And then it's okay. So I take it back. Actually, it's righty, lefty, lefty. So so in that case, actually, you can maybe put Paredes at least the last 2 games of the series at second. Leave Mead in at third.
Yep.
But maybe this just means that that Mead is maybe a Rhonda pulls to start at second
I'd be okay with that.
And it's just a one game kind of start at second, gets a lefty in the lineup still, and so on and so forth. So they're kind of getting a little banged up here. So for me, that's the biggest takeaway. I know fans are going to be pissed about the 6 for 32 with runners in scoring position the last 2 games of that series. But if you're in 2 games putting 32 runners in scoring position over time, that's going to work out in your favor. You're not going to always hit 188. So it was just bad, untimely hitting. Didn't work out, but I liked how they kept creating chances every inning. They just got to finish that. So boring series. Coming off the juice against the Orioles to then have to play the Angels.
Yeah, a little bit of a letdown.
A little bit. They pooped out in all 3 games, but in the first and the third, at least when it mattered at the end, they figured it out.
Well, when you want to avoid letdowns and you want to get some juice in your life, get some bird dogs, people.
Gotta get some bird dogs.
You gotta get the bird dogs. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. They make me feel good. They have this stretchy khaki fabric that I can't get enough of. That they're my travel pants. I just went to Japan. You both know this. Guess what? All my pictures, I got my bird dogs on. And guess what? They make me look so good. And so you know what? You got to get yourself something that's going to make you feel look good. All right. So what do you need to do? You need to go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. And you can also enter promo code LockedOnMLB at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. You've known about the Yeti style tumbler, which I have right here. Well, get yourself a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. So that's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free water bottle at checkout. Guess what? On Saturday, when I meet with you, guess what I'm going to be wearing, guys?
Bird dogs.
Bird dogs. And you should be wearing your bird dogs too on Saturday. So get yourself some bird dogs. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you.
We also want to tell you about DoorDash. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get groceries delivered that actually delivers too. That's pretty cool. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or they'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them yourself. Want even more value? You can save all your grocery and restaurant favorites with a $0 delivery fee on all eligible orders with a Dash Pass membership. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use code LockedOnMLB at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. Again, that's a 50% offer. That's 50% off up to $20. No minimum subtotal and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download that DoorDash app in the App Store and then enter the code LockedOnMLB, LOCKEDONMLB. So download the app, then enter that promo code. Good things will happen. Don't forget, that is, I'll say it one more time, code LockedOnMLB for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. All right, Evan, you were at the press conference with Rays officials, city officials, county officials, real estate development officials for the big unveil, the big news. What stood out? I'm just going to get right to the punch here. What stood out the most from that event in showing? If there's one takeaway that listeners should have, or something that stuck out most to you, what was it?
I think the takeaway is this feels like it.
Okay.
This feels like it's going to happen, right? It's been a long process. It also stuck out to me that in the question and answer session, everyone was lined up, but Stu was not. And I do find that interesting. I know he's going through some legal things right now, but going back and forth, people on social media are funny. It's not about people want to assume asking Stu Sternberg questions is like raining on the parade of the day. That's not it. I want you to understand out there that media members, for the most part, have very little availability to ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Period. Right? That's not just Stu. We can go with the Bucks and the Glazer family. We can go with the Lightning and the Vinicks. Right? That's, whatever your opinion on is, and if we went through town, the Vinicks would have the highest approval rating, and Stu would probably have the lowest. Doesn't matter. They're all very much away from the spotlight and away from the media. So in the opportunities we are able to ask questions, it is very important. And Stu has made himself available throughout the process, whether it's been Montreal or Montreal not happening or Ybor City or all these like landmark moments in this journey. He's been around. He spoke on Bally, but Bally's under his umbrella. They're not going to put him under the microscope. And I don't blame anyone at Bally for not doing that because they were cutting my checks. They do the same thing.
Yes.
It's just tough because it's one thing to talk with the tiny consortium of newspaper guys who you can speak, you have some control over. I don't want to say that I don't want to say that Mark Topkin's like writing stories for Stu. That's not at all what I'm saying. But he has a very close-knit circle. And within that circle, there's a lot of, hey, I'm going to tell you this. You can do that. I'll give you this. There's quid pro quo. And there's a kind of a dance that they understand each other. And that's why Topper gets all the Rays stories, right? I mean,
he gets the first question for every press conference.
He does, and you know what? He's there every day, and he deserves that, in my opinion, because he's there and present, and he's the historian for this team, being there since day one. So there are benefits that come with that. But in an audience like that, you have zero control over it. You have news people, every station. You just don't know what curveball is going to come from the crowd.
You might not even have. Not everybody that's there may not even be legitimate media members. You could have a couple rabble-rousers.
Yeah, well, I think as long as you stay out of the Zoom link, that should be okay.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Or national media too, right? It's not just like Tampa Bay.
No,
So
it was interesting. I didn't really see too much national media there for the event that was, and Rob Manfred not there.
Well, because they all thought that the stadium's in Tampa, and they got the address mixed up. That's kind of what
So look, I mean, so for me that was a big takeaway because I think we all wanted to ask him questions, particularly about his ownership in the team. He has mentioned through the Tampa Bay Times that he plans to be owner, but he's going to listen. There's a rumor that the team is up for $2 billion. If so, I have a tough time believing he would not take a deal like that, considering what the franchise was worth to what someone's willing to pay for it, which would be a huge oversell. I'm sure that Stu is going to work people against each other, which is what he's done for 15 years with this Trop facility, to get what he wants. And say what you will about Stu, in this world, he's shown that he'll wait it out, that he's got all the time in the world to get the right deal for him. So there's a little bit of patience. I still am a little interested to know how much of an owner Stu is in the future. And that's not to say like that's going to come like next year. Could be 5 years from now, whatever. You just wonder what the plans are. Now that this is over, is Stu going to carry the torch into the future? Or is this going to be, let me cash out my winnings on the club. I'm going to have some sort of piece of this development. That money will roll over for the end of time, and I've done my job here to make the money. Now, as for the great stuff, the ballpark from the renderings, which we've sort of seen before, looks beautiful. There will be operable windows and roofs. So at least during April and May, and maybe October, we'll have some natural air that comes through. It will be a more intimate setting. The downtown St. Pete area will not quite be the same. I think Mayor Welch brought it up well, saying right now there is a ton of land, which is not bringing the city any money. And even though details of this deal will kind of emerge, and I'm sure the Rays are getting a good deal on this, and people are going to be pissed about that, the whole development of this should return itself. There should be a return on investment long term for the city of St. Pete and Pinellas County. They reiterated that beach renourishment is not going to be affected, that they have money for that. They have money for this. As far as money is concerned, the Rays are paying $700 million plus overrun on it, which is way more than anyone expected them to pay on the onset, which lets you know that kind of where they're at in having a footing in the development of this, because they're going to make that development money. That's why they feel like the investment's worth it. Yeah, because they got stake in this ground, and that's why St. Pete was always the best location for them, because they were a tough deal to beat, having that say in the or having a piece of that pie. And then the city and county will pay the other $600 million. None of that through property taxes. So that was also a takeaway as well. There are still some hurdles, but considering that city officials were in the crowd cheering, you can imagine that Mayor Welch has, and Pinellas County for that matter, have secured the votes. I don't know if they would have gotten to this point and if they felt like they did not. So there's some logistics happening at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Would imagine by March, April, May, we'll get the final seal of approval if it does work out and there's no curveballs. And then by the end of next year, at the, once the 2024 season wraps up, we'll have a shovel in the ground and we'll be working our way towards the 2028 season in a new ballpark. Parking is going to be a mess. 14,000 spots for you, Kev. And which I think is double than what's there currently, if I heard that correctly. 30,000 in the stadium. You figure everyone rides with one. If you have 14,000 times 2, that's 28,000. You figure there are some families involved too. So for them, they've probably done the math on this. Yeah. And then, once 2028 happens, I would imagine an all-star game follows soon thereafter. St. Pete and Vegas will kind of be two all-star game cities that will happen in the not-so-distant future.
Very cool.
That's a very good rundown. And a quick yes or no follow-up to all that and all this. With all the money that the Rays should be getting through the redevelopment and the projects that are ongoing, do you truly believe that they'll use the money and the revenue that will be coming into them towards the on-field product, i.e. boosting the payroll up as it necessitates and not using the excuse of, well, we're still having trouble drawing fans. So we can only have a $70-80 million payroll, folks.
Remains to be seen, right? People are out there making comparisons between Miami and this deal. I refrain a little bit from that because while the Marlins Park was, first off, I believe 100% put on the taxpayers.
I believe so. Yeah, we had David Sampson on a couple of years ago.
Time, yeah, right. And he said a long time ago, right, the Montreal thing was never going to work out. So it'd be interesting to go back to that interview. I think a lot of what he said pretty much did happen. So first off, this is not falling all on the people of St. Pete. It's not. Inherently by the Rays paying $700+ million. So right. Just in that fact. 2, they should be making money on the development through the end of time. That should be rolling over that money, right? So the Rays, they argue the attendance is still going to be the attendance, right? I mean, it's in the same location. We know exactly what's going to happen.
But there's going to be a lot more residences popping up surrounding that area. So I do think there is going to be
that's going to help.
Incremental boost.
That will help. I mean, we've also seen a 30% increase in attendance this year. Of course, the MLB rule changes have helped.
Yep.
MLB attendance is up across the country. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been, but even so, we're still talking about an average of 17,000 fans. Year one, year two, I'm sure people are going to be jacked up about the new stadium. We're going to see great numbers. And then eventually people are not going to want to travel across the bridge, and we know the whole deal, right? We know what to expect. And we do expect population to go up in St. Pete. This project should also bring a lot more notoriety and a spotlight to the area, which will increase sort of people running out there.
Think about all the people that, not just the people that will be living in the area or vacation in the area that want to go to a ball game, but all the retail and office space and the corporate opportunities of
hotels.
Got a big group. Let's go to a ball game. I mean, it's good. Let's, walk outside our office and make the 5-10 minute, move over to catch a little bit of the ball game or whatever.
That's the hope. To me, I think that's a little bit longer term. I think we probably still got to get a ways away. And St. Pete still has to really, truly blossom as it is right now. But I don't think it's a full-fledged flower yet. I still think it's in that upward trajectory type of city. And one, by the way, I love St. Pete. So seriously,
don't you live in St. Pete?
I do. So yeah.
Okay. There we go.
So I put my money where my mouth is. And as far as the money on the field, first off, we got to see how the Rays essentially pay for, they said they're going to have bonds and they might sell minority stakes of the team. There's also the stuff, as I said, Stu's in whatever legal battle he has with his current minority owners and the minority stakes. So there's that stuff might eat his money in the short term. Now, if someone comes in over the top and buys a team, usually what happens in these instances, like you saw in Miami, owners will buy to prove that it was worth it, and then they'll sell and say the attendance was not there. I believe attendance will always be an excuse to go to. It's an easy one to kind of make things work. Having said that, my gut is there'll be the same sort of franchise with maybe the ability to make one splash. Now, Wander Franco should be that splash long term.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on there, but they made a commitment to a significant amount of money for him. And let's just put aside what has happened surrounding him. If you put in a long-term view, I would say that's your all-world player, $30-something million player. Those don't come around often in Rays history. Glass now is going to make $25 million. Will he be on the roster next year? I don't know. Hope so. Wouldn't put it past the Rays to sell him. So, though, for me, I think that there's a little bit more of an ability to maybe keep that star talent. And the interesting part is who will be on that 2028 roster when the stadium opens, because as of this moment, only Wander Franco is under contract. And even with him being on administrative leave, he's still getting paid. So that's the only commitment that the Rays have. A lot of the guys who signed extensions in the offseason, even guys like, Jeffrey Springs, Shane McClanahan, those types, they're up in 2027. So we'll see.
Kevin Cash will still be around. All right. We have more to discuss, but we have to tell you this. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better place to get in on the action than right now. The app is incredibly easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options as well. Spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So go ahead, do it right now. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON, and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, They are an official partner of the NFL. All right, Ulises and Evan, let's get right into it before we end this episode. Baseball trivia and Name That War. Ulises, what do you have in the avenue of trivia?
Well, you all know we're going to be seeing the Rays play the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays have tremendous starting pitching, which started a little bit of a rabbit hole on the last 20 opening day starters for the Toronto Blue Jays. The last 20 years. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different guys in the last 20 years. Can you guys name 6 of the 11 starters from 2004 till 2023? Let's play ping pong. Klosky, you go first.
Roy Halladay.
Roy Halladay from 2003 till 2009. You are correct.
Oh my gosh, that was going to be.
Well, Kev, would it be Manoah or Gosman?
Gosman.
Strike one.
Okay.
So is it Manoah?
Manoah is correct. 2023.
I'm having some brain disease with Blue Jays starting pitchers. David Price
Is strike two.
No.
Wow.
David Price.
Let's
Would
remember,
Cr- would
David
Cr-
Price was a trade deadline acquisition as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, because the Rays send him to Detroit in 2014, a Thomas trade, and then the Detroit Tigers send him to the Blue Jays in the trade deadline of 2015.
Would Chris Carpenter have done it?
Oh, that's a bad guess. Oh, that's a really bad guess. I'm sorry, but
Foul tip. I'll give it to you. Foul tip. Nothing happened here. Still alive.
go again.
Wasn't Chris Carpenter on the Blue
And
Jays?
you guys are still alive because that was a very funny reaction by Kevin. So yeah, foul tip.
This guy hasn't gotten one yet, and he's gonna do the
Okay.
reaction.
Marcus Stroman.
Thank you. Stroman did it twice. Thank you, Kevin, for coming through there. Evan Klosky is basically just putting the team on his shoulders. Stroman did it in 2016 and in 2019. So you guys have gotten Stroman, Manoah,
would Burley
and
have been
Halladay.
one? Would Burley have been one?
Strike
I don't
three.
like that. I don't like that Ulises face right there.
Strike
I was talking with Kev.
Okay, were you?
I
Were you
was.
really?
I thought this was a.
I mean, I thought that was a pretty good guess. I would have gone with it.
You would have gone
It
with
wasn't
it?
as bad as
Okay. If you
Chris
say
Well, I have bad news. He is not on this list. Let me run through the names. Roy Halladay, 2010, Sean Markham. 2011, 2012, Ricky Romero. 2013,
Oh my God.
2014.
This is why we can't guess any Blue Jays opening day starters. I was racking my brain like after
Oh, you're gonna
Halladay.
hate
Who
this
is
one.
there?
You're gonna hate this one. 2013, 2014, R.A. Dickey. 2015, Lakeland's own Drew Hutchinson. 2016, Stroman. 2017, Marco Estrada. 2018, J.A. Happ. 2019, Stroman. And hello, 2020 and 2021, Hyunjin Ryu, who is still
Yeah, I
pitching
should've
for
thought of
the
Ryu.
Jays. In
But
2022,
Having
Jose
said that,
Barrios.
that may be
but he did do it. Okay.
some of those names. That might be the worst collection of opening day starters.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Carpenter pitched 6 seasons for Toronto. It just in my head, he finally turned into a thing in St. Louis.
Well,
He was
memory's a funny thing.
I mean, he had a long career with the Cardinal with
Carpenter
the Blues and the
is
Cardinals.
your Miguel Tejada of this week.
That I guess so.
Yeah.
There have been worse guesses.
No, not a bad guess, but I really like Kevin's reaction.
All right. So, let's see how you do on Name That War.
Okay, I
This
was nice.
guy, I didn't go with the Blue Jays player. I went with an Angels player this time around. And he does have a connection with a current, maybe soon to be former Rays player. He's the uncle of Wander Franco and the brother of Willie Ibar. So there's a Rays tie-in. Eric Ibar, what is his career WAR?
Oh my God.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. I will never forget. People who don't follow Winter League Baseball don't know how much of an icon Eric Ibar is, because with 2
Is he
outs,
like Jimmer Fredette in the Chinese basketball league or something?
I don't even know. I'm gonna just
before you say it, let me finish this. So he was in the Caribbean series. He was playing for the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is beating Leones del Caracas, the Venezuelan team. That's the flag right there behind me. Mm-hmm. And they're about to win. And they're a minute on first and second. A pop-up between left and shortstop happens. Eric Ibar goes back, loses it, hits him in the head. Like the biggest blooper in baseball. Hits him in the head. Runners go around, walk off from a blooper that hit Eric Ibar in the head. I'm going with 13 WAR.
Okay, I don't feel as bad now because my gut was a 16-4, and I was just purely nothing behind it. But at least you said 13, so I don't feel like I'm going to be ridiculously out.
Okay, let's see. Kevin,
is Kev broken?
Did we lose you?
I'm here.
Kev
Hello.
broken?
All right, yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Now you're back. Okay.
The potato Wi-Fi is not working.
You got it. Yeah.
I need a third potato.
Move the bunny ears to the left.
Got it. Potato fixed.
Oh God. Oh.
What's your guess?
Oh, you missed it.
Oh my God. The freaking the whole podcast is over.
Yes, we've said it. I said 13. Evan said 16.4.
Oh,
what is
okay.
Eric Ibar's?
All right. Potato intact now. We're good to go. Eric Ibar's career WAR, after playing 12 years, making an all-star appearance, winning a gold glove, collecting 1,400 career hits, 1,402, I should say, a 271 career batting average, and never striking out more than 81 times in any single season, and playing shortstop and second base and being a switch hitter. Eric Ibar's career WAR, surprisingly, is 22.8.
Wow. Okay.
Would not have guessed that.
I'm seeing it in the lenses of he gets hit in the head with fly balls.
Yeah.
It happens to Josh Lowe too, doesn't it?
Oh, in the face though. That was worse. That was in the face. Yeah. Not even in the noggin, like in the face, man.
Really bad.
That was bad. Woof. Woof. All right, that was a good name.
Yeah, my potato's starting to malfunction a little bit. Evan, where can people find your work?
At eCloskey WTSP. You can find us on 10tampabay.com, Instagram at eCloskey. And as always, if you hit me up, I'll respond 99% of the time unless you're a jerk, which I'll probably just mute you at that point.
Good. That's good mental health right there. Now, before the potato starts acting up, take us out, Mr. Potato.
Yes. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week. Potato out.